Hi, I'm Divya Dixit. I am the Senior VP and Head Marketing for the OTT platform ALTBalaji. See, when I started this OTT journey, which is about 3 years ago, at that point of time, I think OTT was a bit niche as a product because of probably the high data values, the fact that Airtel or a Vodafone, the data values that they were giving it away at made it very, very niche. However, with Jio coming into the play, massification actually started. With that massification, the content also moved from being absolutely niche to being what it is today, which is basically something for everybody. So if you look at it, even on ALTBalaji as a platform, for the elitist, we've got test case, we've got Bose, we've got TJIDF, we've now got Mom, we've launched Verdict recently. And then for the mass India, we also have Boss, we have got Fixer, which is coming up. We've got Aragini MMS, and I can name quite a few like Dev Didi, etc., which appeal to the mass India. Then for the women's segment, we have Cold Lassi or Chicken Masala, which has been an absolute super hit. For the youngsters, we also have Romance, which is like Barish. And then for the absolute teenagers, we also have something like Punch Beat. So there's this whole diversity in the content which has come, I think, in OTT as a space, and especially on alt, because we believe that we create content for everybody. And with the massification of the ecosystem, it has allowed us to move into that. So for us, we're very, very clear that we are going to stay in the original space, and all the marketing forums and the panels, etc., on the industry that I attend. People talk about customer acquisition, user experience, etc., and that, of course, is a hygiene today, right? Because if you're running a platform, it has to be a profitable business, or at least a business that, sort of neutralizes the cost. The second part is the user experience has to be great, otherwise the user will not stay on your platform. So these are hygienes. So what is that driving force? At Alt, we believe that driving force is going to be originals, which is going to get you a certain kind of brand visibility, brand conversations, as well as some kind of stickiness and loyalty from the audience. Otherwise, if you're just acquiring movies, or if you're just acquiring content which can be easily available across any other platform, then there is not really any USP, right? So you need to work and ensure that there is a certain kind of content that allows momentum for your platform. For us, the niche is originals. Currently, we're focusing on Hindi as a space because it's almost 70%. Are we going to go into other languages? Yes, that also is going to happen in the near future. So for us, let me say this. Somebody asked me this earlier and I said, listen, first of all, millennials is a misnomer, because millennials are somebody who are now probably 35 and above. Millennials was a term used for people born in 1996. For us, it's more like Gen Xers and Gen Yers. So if I look at them, my primary TG falls in between 18 to 35. That's almost 60 to 70% of my audience, right? And after that, due to the targeted content that we produce for people above that age, those are the people available on the platform. So my primary TG lies between 18 to 35 years. Now, because of the propensity or by the nature of the platform, it's a male-skewed platform, right? Digital is still getting adopted by women in India. Of course, metros being a misnomer, and metros, it's equal split we see. However, if I look at the split, it's about 65% male and the rest belong to women. So that's TG. We also are seeing a very, very healthy growth from tier 3 and tier 4 towns, and that's all because of the geo magic. So we believe that massification of OTT, the content massification, has to be the way forward for OTT. So for us, Instagram is growing humongously. Now, it's very interesting. I just had a meeting with Facebook team in the morning, and they presented the same creds to us, and they were telling us that how in India Instagram is growing exponentially, which also sort of augurs well with our own findings. For us, Facebook is growing but not as much. However, Instagram growth is on an exponential phase as one of our platforms. That has worked beautifully for us, also because of the fact that all youngsters are sort of only on Instagram. So I know quite a few people who are only on Instagram and prefer not to be on Facebook, right? So that's one platform which has worked beautifully for us. The other platform which has worked beautifully for us is WhatsApp. So we also have a verified WhatsApp business account, which we now use extensively because, gone are the days when people used to use SMS. Now your main method of communication is WhatsApp, to the level that people prefer to communicate over WhatsApp rather than even over calls. So I think these are two platforms which are working beautifully for us. In terms of the media mix, because we are a digital platform and that's where our audience is, we're digitally very heavy in terms of our spends. Yes, we do use outdoor, we use television, we use print on a show-to-show basis, and it also depends on what is the target segment. So for example, if my target segment on Verdict is metro, evolved audience, then yes, I want to use maybe a Times of India. Then yes, I may want to put out hoardings because there are face values. Those are things that we want to talk about, right? However, if my show is a punch beat, now that's an outright young, digitally savvy kids. I don't need to put up hoardings. I don't need to go to newspapers. I just need to be on digital and be on the music channels and be in coffee shops, because those are the kind of places they go to. So honestly, I come from broadcast and I come from telecom, and there's no separate strategy for OTT marketing. Only thing that OTT demands, and I strongly believe in that the marketing bucks or the marketing money should be amped up and spent only when the product is on the platform. Before that, you should effectively use PR and social media to create buzz and hype that we keep talking about. And your marketing money should be scaled up when the product is on the platform to get the maximum ROI. Because in OTT, it's an immediacy effect. You see a banner now, you love it, you click on it, you land on my platform and you watch the show. And that is how we work on the marketing mix. So influencer marketing of late has been extensively used, and I see many people, and a lot of influencer marketing agencies approach us. But we are a little against that because first of all, we believe that we ourselves, when we are casting good names, we're casting people who have a great amount of social media, fan following, etc. We don't really need influencers, and we like to leverage our star cast to the maximum, and they also cooperate with us because they believe in the product and they understand that marketing is required to be able to get the audience notice the product and do the content marketing and the content discovery route. So we're fortunate that way. We don't like to pay people or pay influencers to influence people. We believe that if the organic buzz is high, people themselves will post about it. So for example, I'll give you an example. Aparan, for us as a show, for about 5-6 days, it didn't really pick up because, the names were not that big at that given point of time. There was Aruno there was Mahi, and there was Nidhi, who are good celebrated actors in their own right, but they're definitely not the what you would say immediate fancy catching actors. But because the content was so powerful and the actors got together with us, and really worked on the show promotions, within 6 days it went viral and everybody was writing about it. So that is the power of influencer marketing we usually work with. I think it's time for OTT platforms to sort of leverage each other's strength, work with each other. And this is a deal which we have done with ZEE5 because I think ZEE5 also understands the fact that we're able to create great content and they wanted to leverage that. They have a huge platform and they have a great reach. It's a win-win for us. Our content gets a much wider audience. ZEE5 gets our great content, and it's a creation content deal. That's what we have currently with ZEE5. I think in times to come we may do a similar kind of an association with other platforms as well. I was just reading in the news yesterday that there's another OTT platform which has launched in India. I'm forgetting the name, Grimly or something like that. I was reading about it and I was just wondering that, with 33 OTT players, already in India, where is the space for more? Is the consolidation going to happen? For sure. It could be consolidation, it could be aggregation, it could be a wipeout. I think in 2008, I saw something similar happening to broadcasting channels when there were 15 GECs in the play, and things consolidated. Some got wiped out, some got consolidated, some got taken over. It is eventually going to happen, but I still think we have about 3 years to go before it starts pinching. Yes, digital is a tough business to be in, but I also think that if the ecosystem permits, quite a few OTT players can thrive. Well, I think it's about the promise that you make to the consumer and you deliver. That's the first thing as a marketer that you need to do. And content specifically, the industry that I work in, people get very, very passionate about the content that they see. Either they love it or they hate it, or they like the experience they've had, or they absolutely don't like the experience they had. I'll give you an example. I went to see this movie Joker. I loved it. My husband didn't. He was like, I don't understand what this is all about, and I really didn't like it. So similarly, as a marketer, I believe there is a certain promise you need to make to the consumer about a piece of content, and you need to deliver it. The second part as a marketer, I believe, is that your overall unique user experience should be good. So for example, for us as a content platform, it's not just about great content. It's also about the feasibility of onboarding. It's about the payment process. It's about how he's watching his first video. It's about ensuring that if he's left it midway, do we send him a friendly reminder and ask him to watch it again? It's about being non-invasive. So there are multiple promises that you need to deliver to the consumer. So I think as a marketer, a user experience is going to be one of the top priorities in the time to come. The last thing which I think that we need to start working upon, which though is a little in the future, is the immersive experience that you can give to the consumer. This is one of the trends that the industry is talking about through virtual reality, which we are going to probably launch in one of our next shows very soon, this year itself. I think Paytm's done a brilliant job at the time of the fact when there was demonetization. They moved in very well, and they did it very, very well. It's like how WeChat exists in China. People in China, I spent 15 days in Beijing, and people in China are absolutely lost without WeChat. It books cars for them. It books tickets for them. It runs their lives. It pays. So I think Paytm is adapting, is evolving, and we do a lot of work with Paytm. So that's one brand. The other brand that I think is evolving very, very well to consumer demands is Swiggy, Zomato in that space. I think they're doing very well. The third brand which I believe is adapting to consumer needs is Nykaa. I think they have done a lot of aggregation, and why I say that, because today's youth is so self-conscious. They want to look their best, and if they have a platform where all the brands are available, they deliver the store, and they also have retail touch points, I think they're living up to a certain amount of consumer promise. So from an Indian perspective, these are the three brands that I could think of which are adapting quite well to the consumer demands of late. So not marketing experts, but I think I've said this enough in many places. Elon Musk is somebody I really look up to and I really, really admire. I think that man is relentless. The other person I think highly of, I think, is Satya Nadella. And really, I can't think of a third person who I really admire, but I would say from a woman-centric point of view, and not as a marketing expert, but the woman I really used to admire was Kiran Bedi. I haven't seen somebody like her. She stood for what she believed in and she fought through. So these are three people who really would be on my admiration list.